What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. So today I wanted to compare the last few generations of the iPhone Pro Max series because at first glance these do all look pretty similar, and if I were to ask you if they were all, let's say, a black or a white iPhone, could you tell the difference just by looking at them from the back side? And I bet a lot of you probably could not, unless you're looking at just these small differences in height amongst these, and if you could maybe catch the shiny borders of the 14, maybe you'd know then. But hopefully by the end of the video you have a better idea of what these differences are, and if you're someone like my wife, she'd let me borrow her phone, so we gotta be careful with this one. We can't drop it, we took it out of the case. You maybe would not want to upgrade to a 15 or even the newest 16 because this one's still gonna do a lot of that for you. This one is mine. This one's going back to Apple as part of the annual upgrade program. And then this is the newest 16 Pro Max. But what was really interesting to me is if you look at these both side by side, we have gold and then we have desert, which to me was gonna look a lot more like my desk, kind of like sand, which I don't think it does. I think it looks more pink, kind of like a rose gold to me, but what do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments. Is this actually desert? But with that being said, let's go ahead and kind of take a look at the differences between these devices. We'll jump into some camera comparisons so you guys can see the differences, even though the camera modules are actually pretty similar as well. The biggest difference here is going to be the 48 megapixel ultra wide, which we'll show you some samples of that. All of them are pretty good desk rockers. I mean, you got a pretty significant camera bump. They all do a lot of the same. But I wanted to quickly just kind of highlight some of the main features and differences between these from a visual and outside perspective. So from the main screen, we're looking at these two here. They are both running the same exact 6.7-inch Super Retina XDR OLED display. I think that's what it's called. Same exact contrast ratios, same exact peak brightness. Really everything between these two devices on their displays is the same. But one thing that they introduced with the 14 Pro Max is that dynamic island. So you're able to run applications up in there. So if it's like DoorDash or maybe like an airlines app, you can see your gate, you can see when you're checking in, things like that. Or if you're running, let's say Spotify, I'll open that up and you can then control your song and kind of things up in that app. So it's kind of a better use of that dead space that was once there with the prior models. On top of that, you are also having Lightning port on the 14. That was a big change between the 15 and 16. A highlight feature on the 15 actually was that USB-C, where I made a video last year. You could plug it into a ton of things like a microphone or a USB dock or pretty much anything that has USB. You could also charge devices through USB on this, so pretty significant upgrade over the Lightning port on that. They made it in titanium and you got an action button. That was kind of the physical differences between these two. And then this one, nearly identical, 6.9-inch display, otherwise the exact same specs, same OLED display. This one goes down to 1 nit, not that that matters. And then you also get the addition of the camera capture button. Now, flipping it over to the rear, I could tell you all about these camera specs. Like I said, most of them are the exact same 48 megapixel main sensor. You have 12 megapixel for the top camera on the rear side here. They're all the same, and then this one gets 48 while these ones both have 12. So instead of just rattling off the detailed specs, the aperture, blah, 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 I'd rather just take them outside, take some photos inside, show you the differences so you can see firsthand what the 14 looks like, what the 15 looks like, and what the 16 looks like. So if you are someone who cares about video or shooting photos, you can see if one of them is going to be a better upgrade for you. One real quick thing to note, 15 and 16 also shoot log footage and video where you can edit more in post-production with colors and everything else than you could on the 14. You could not do that on the 14. But with that being said, let's go ahead and shoot some photos. Kicking off the photo test with our sleeping dog, we can see that the iPhone 16 Pro has a lot more clarity when zoomed in. And now looking at an outdoor object, we can kind of zoom in again and a little more and see the detail that the iPhone 16 Pro Max brings out in these photos here. Moving on, we now have an outdoor bridge. We're going to go through the ultra wide as well as the telephoto just to look at the differences between these, and it is pretty dang close, but the iPhone 16 again is a little bit better. So that's a little sample of what the photos look like coming out of these devices. Obviously the 14 Pro Max does not look as good as the 16 Pro Max. Apple does a lot of things when they update their CPUs as well. We get some advanced computation on the back end, so it is expected that every single year you are going to get a little incremental bump, but that's not to say the 14 takes a bad photo. Most of the time you are going to get a really good looking photo out of the 14, and that is also why my wife is sticking with the 14. She's going to be able to take tons of photos of her dog still, and they will look very good. So with that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at what the videos look like. All right, so here's a quick video test on the iPhone 14 Pro Max. We are out walking the doggies. We got some goats up over here, and this is what it sounds like. Quick video test on the iPhone 15 Pro Max. Again, still walking the doggies, looking at what the colors look like, the stabilization as we're walking along, and this is what it sounds like. And now lastly, we have the iPhone 16 Pro Max, looking at the colors, how well the stabilization is as we are continuing to walk along, and this is what it sounds like. Here is the zoom test on the iPhone 14. We're going from 1x to the 3x, and this is what it looks like as we continue walking and how it stabilizes the video. Here is a quick zoom test on the iPhone 15. We're going from the 1x to the 5x camera. That is what it looks like, and this is what the stabilization looks like. And here we have the zoom test on the iPhone 16 Pro Max, starting at 1x and going to 5x. And this is what it looks like. And this is what it looks like as it's trying to stabilize as we are continuing to walk. So there it is, guys. That is the comparison of the 14, 15, and 16 Pro Max. I know we didn't dive into every single feature. If we did that, this could easily be an hour-long video. I wanted to kind of just talk about some of the surface details you'll look at when you notice these phones sitting on a table, as well as some of the photo and video, since that is what most people will use these devices for, is taking photos and videos with them. On top of that, I will be doing a more detailed review of the iPhone 16 in about a month or so, so if you guys want to go ahead and check that out, be sure you're subscribed. But if you have any other questions in regards to these phones that I talked about today that wasn't maybe fully clarified in the video, let me know down in the comments. I'm happy to answer those and kind of get into more detail about anything you'd like to know. Aside from that, thanks so much for watching, guys, and we'll see you on the next one.